Hey, chili dog.
Strike.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Did you know that even the best cartoons have animation errors and even continuity mistakes? And even the excellent show Bluey has some errors that everyone can spot if they look closely. Like what happens in the episode Pirate when Bandit is playing with the girls, swinging in a hammock and pretending to be a pirate ship. And if you slow down the scene, watch it in slow motion, you'll notice that when he lets the hammock swing, something very strange happens. Bandit's two ears merge into one for a brief moment, creating a rather peculiar image of Bluey's dad, but at the same time funny, as he ends up looking like a mix between an Australian cattle dog and a unicorn. This is just one of the errors we found in Bluey that we're going to tell you about now. Want to know all the others? Just stick with us. Another small animation error we found in Bluey is in the episode Phone, when Grandpa visits the healer's house to see the family. He plays with the girls while trying to figure out his phone. When he goes to where the girls are playing, Bluey has a makeshift restaurant where they play food delivery. And on this counter, there are some bowls, a red pencil, and a small notebook. But something interesting happens right after that when we see the scene from a different perspective, and we see the girls' faces head on. We see that the three items are still there, but the pencil is no longer next to the bowls. Instead, it's on top of the notepad, and right after that, the items go back to their original positions.
You stay at home and order on your phone.
All right, yeah, I know what's going on. I use my phone.
Another small detail we found was in the episode Library, where Muffin goes to visit her cousins, and they are playing in a library. And Bluey shows Muffin that they even have a heart-shaped stamp to mark people's library cards when they borrow and return books. And we notice that this card with the heart-shaped stamp is on top of another piece of pink paper. However, right after that, when Bluey is making the library card for Muffin, we see that the positions of the pink papers are switched, and the paper with the heart stamp is under the other paper without a stamp. A small continuity error, but we noticed it just to let you know. Remember the pirate episode we talked about at the beginning of the video? Well, in that same scene, we found more animation mistakes. In fact, at the same moment when Bandit's ears merge into one, we see that the color of Bandit's head fur changes. Bluey's dad and Bingo's dad have predominantly dark blue heads in the front, but it's lighter in the back. But we see that it becomes much lighter in the front at that moment, right next to his right eye, where it should be all dark blue. But that's not all. Right after that, something even stranger happens in the animation. This time, instead of his ears merging into one, Bandit's eyes merge into one, and he becomes a kind of mutant Cyclops blue heller. Additionally, his snout also disappears for a brief moment, making him truly unrecognizable. But then, he quickly returns to normal. Thank goodness.
It's nothing to be scared of.
This episode is definitely great, but needs a little editing revision to fix these small details. Returning to the phone episode, we see something quite intriguing that isn't exactly an error, but definitely represents a small logic error in the show. We know that all the characters in the show are dogs, and they don't wear clothes because their fur is their clothing, right? But when Grandpa Mort is paying the driver who dropped him off at his daughter's house, Chili takes out a cell phone and says she has already paid the fare through the app. So she, who had nothing in her hands, suddenly has a cell phone? But where was this cell phone? Do they have pockets in their fur? Or is there some sticker on the back of their cell phone that makes it stick to the characters' backs? Anyway, this is the famous artistic license in cartoons where not everything makes sense.
See you, Mort. Hey, what? Where's he going? I didn't pay him yet.
He's already been paid, Dad, on the internet.
The next mistake we're going to talk about is related to Bluey and Bingo's cousin, Muffin. If you've made it this far, you're definitely enjoying the video, so to make sure you're following what we're saying, comment down below #kangaroo in honor of Bluey's home country, Australia. Returning to the library episode we mentioned earlier in the video, we also found a small continuity error in it. When Bluey is making the library card for Muffin, she pretends they're taking a photo, which is very cute. But if you look a bit earlier in the same episode, you'll see Bluey introducing, in quotes, the library's facilities, and she shows Muffin the book cart next to the sofa. So when Muffin was about to take her imaginary photo, this cart simply disappeared. And before you think it might have been removed, I don't think so, because Bingo was reading while Muffin and Bluey were in the process of making the card. A small coherence error in this otherwise very good episode.
Oh, wait, these are the books. Wow! Look into this and smile. Excellent.
Now let's go to the episode Horse Ride, where the girls decide to play one of the most creative and absurd games in all of Bluey's episodes. They're simply playing with their parents, Bandit and Stripe, pretending they're not dogs anymore, but horses. At a certain point, they have the brilliant idea to marry the two horses, complete with music and a veil. And apart from the obvious mistake of marrying two sibling horses, we also see another animation mistake in Bandit, who is the bride in the game. Remember that at the beginning of the video, we mentioned that Bandit's head is mostly dark blue? When Stripe is entering the wedding ceremony, we notice that Bandit's head is completely light blue, but then it goes back to its normal color. Maybe it was because they were getting married against their will.
I'm the luckiest horse in the world.
The healer's house is filled with many pictures and photographs on practically every wall. But in one episode, we noticed a small detail related to this family characteristic. The girls decide to play hotel, and they are at the top of the stairs leading to the first floor. And when they pick up the laundry basket, we see that right above their heads, slightly to the side, there's a picture of a ball on a beach. But in the next scene, we see something completely different. Instead of the beach picture, there's a photo that looks like it's of Bluey. And in case you're thinking that maybe the beach picture was supposed to be below, we see that right below the picture of Bluey, there's actually a green background, indicating that it's neither sand nor seawater. This one almost went unnoticed. In that same episode, there's another detail that happens very quickly and is almost imperceptible, but we noticed it. When Bandit is playing with the girls, he turns on the TV, and the girls pretend they're on a channel where Bluey keeps putting Bingo's head on the bed all the time. Everything's fine up to that point, but after Bandit changes the channel within the game and goes back to the face on the mattress channel, we see a detail. When Bluey puts Bingo's face on the mattress again, suddenly the color on the back of Bingo's head changes and it becomes much lighter, the same color as the rest of her body, which is a lighter shade. A small coloring error between the frames of the show. The episode Spy Game is very cool and funny, and it has some interesting lessons. But even so, we managed to find a small detail that doesn't make sense in it. At one point, Bandit, being the good dad he is, needs to take Bingo to the bathroom. But that's exactly where the magic happens, because he is in two places at once. As while he's at the bathroom door, he's also shown at the barbecue chatting with his friends and grilling. This is definitely the most evident case of magic and illusionism we've seen in Bluey. The Healer family is certainly very colorful, with Bluey and Bandit being blue, and Chili and Bingo having more orangish tones. This is because, despite being the same species in the real world, the variations between Chili and Bandit are different, with him being a blue healer and her being a red healer. But they have certainly formed a successful couple, and Bluey and Bingo are proof of that. In one episode, in the Bob Bilby episode, they go to the supermarket, and coincidentally, we see Trixie and Stripe in the background at a store. But if you look closely, Stripe looks very different. The color of his fur has changed from blue to completely reddish. And no, they weren't watching a rugby game this time. This time, it was definitely an editing mistake in the show. These were the 12 mistakes we found in Bluey and decided to share with you. If you happen to notice any other mistakes in any of these episodes we mentioned or in any other episode, please comment down below for us to see. This was definitely a fun video to make and watch. And to ensure you keep watching very cool videos, we've selected these two down below for you to watch. Check them out because I'm sure you'll really enjoy them.